my name's Corey. I'm here with Louisville Indie Films, and I'm joined by two writer and directors that made the same genre movie with the same title in the same year. On one side, you've got Paul Etheredge, whose feature length The Other has already stalked its way into the world, weaving haunted family secrets and supernatural unease. And on the other side, Emmett Swann, a Louisville filmmaker gearing up to drop his short version of The Other this October. A sharp indie tale about a couple, their dog, and the terrifying appearance of another dog. We're here to talk about origins, overlap, and what it's like to be the other.
Love
All
it.
right. Paul, I guess I'll start with you. First question. Let's start at the beginning. How did you find your way into filmmaking, and what kind of stories and projects have you created before this one?
Okay. Well, I found my way into filmmaking at, I don't know, 4 years old, 8 years old, somewhere in there. My mother taught film, and she was an avid film goer. I was raised going to, see films in the theater, at least once a week. And then she'd bring films home and, show them on our living room wall. So I was exposed to a wide variety of genres, for my entire life. And then once I was able to, I was a teenager and able to do whatever I wanted to, I would go to the theater 3 times a week. There was a rep theater down the street from me. And so every couple of days they'd bring in something else. So I saw a lot of James Bond, a lot of Truffaut. It's just like just such a lot of Kubrick festivals. Um, Exposed to all kinds of really great movies, and I knew from a young age that I wanted to make them too. It wasn't always clear how I was going to do it, but um, I do mainly horror, and I've done an action thriller before. Horror is just the genre is such a huge umbrella that you can take almost any story that you want to tell, um, and squeeze it into that. And it can be funny, like The Other, I think is funny. I'm maybe the only one who thinks that.
Hmm.
But um, but I thought it was, pretty hilarious. Anyway, so you can make musicals, horror musicals. You can um absolutely. Sorry, my dog is complaining that he's not walking. Ultimately I got into it. I went to an arts high school. I studied theater. Because I figured the technical stuff I could work out, in the field essentially after I, learned how to after I graduated college and I got into the business. That's my fantasy. But I felt like I needed as much experience working with actors as I could get. I went to a performing arts high school, and when I was in college, I was a theater major, and it was just a lot of concentrated, doing plays, learning about blocking, learning about, creating, visuals that meant something, and then really dealing with actors. Um, Granted, they weren't, professionals, but still, you learn how to speak a language with them and how to not piss everybody off. Um, so for me, that was, I uh, I felt like I got a good beginning foundation from school
Hmm.
as far as directing actors, and then once I got out of school, I lucked into a film, an Oliver Stone film came to town, and I became a PA on it.
Oh,
So I was exposed to a lot of, really I mean, it's probably the largest film I've ever been involved with. Um, Huge actors and all these sets and everything. So it was a great, cutting my teeth. And then I'm like, hell, I'm going to New York City. I'm going to be a filmmaker.
What
uh,
what Stone film was it, if you don't mind saying?
JFK.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was living in Dallas. So it's like, Dealey Plaza, all of that,
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude.
eight city
That's awesome.
blocks of doing set deck and, blowing Kennedy's head off,
Right. Oh my
three
gosh, I
times a
can't
day.
imagine what that was like.
that's
It
crazy.
was, it was, yeah, it was pretty crazy. It really was. Of course, I didn't have anything to compare it to. Uh,
Hmm.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that's a crazy
and
start as a PA. That's
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. One of like, 400. So
Yeah. No, you
Right.
were you were on that train. You wrote it.
yeah,
It's cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. Um, I guess I'll butt in. I feel like compared to that story, it's not going to be nearly as interesting. Like a lot of people, I started writing during the pandemic. So, everybody's home, can't interact with people, start new hobbies. Mine was creative writing because I had always had that vested interest in like, there are worlds that I want to create and there are stories that I want to tell. So I got into that and I've always, like you, I've always been surrounded by film. That was like my family's go-to getaway thing. We'd go to the theater. We'd, get the big popcorn bucket. We'd go sit down. You'd watch this experience with like hundreds of other people, and it would just be like so mind-blowing. And then whatever main character from whatever movie would be like my personality for the week or two that after. So it was a fun experience, but like every single time I would have like a school project, I remember if there was ever an option to do like a recorded video version of it, I'd do that. And I would just use it as like kind of a little play stage to just like see what I could make. And it was very fun. But it was always like this isn't gonna be like a big thing for me. I'm just gonna like set it aside. And then the pandemic happened, started writing these stories, and I just got it. And like I'm such a visual person, and these stories only do so much justice, on the page. And I didn't really share them with people. I posted like online a couple different places, but what I really wanted to do was like show a final product to people and get those stories out there in like the visual form. So I just took the leap. I got Sony A6300 for like $500. Went into the woods to my grandparents' cabin and made the horrible mistake of filming my first film in the middle of the night in a cabin in the woods with no electricity, no working anything. Um, so that was fun. Lighting that thing
Hmm.
after dark was like atrocious. It was so bad, but I learned a lot
You
from it.
lit,
So.
you lit after dark.
It was after dark, yeah. So that half of the film takes place during the day. That stuff actually looked pretty good. It was awesome for like someone's first time. And then you cut to all the stuff after dark, and it's just noisy as hell, and it's
Hmm.
unusable footage, and you can't see what's going on. And then you put it to like something like YouTube, which just downgrades all the quality and compresses it, and it's just like gone. You might as well just watch black paint dry at that point. But so I did that and I liked doing it. It was fun. I did it with friends. And I did it three more times. I wrote and directed shorts and produced one other one for a friend. So the other is my fifth short film. So I've done it a couple different times. I usually stick to that like horror thriller genre because it's just the kind of movies that I'm interested in. And
It'll get the most views too.
yes, and I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. It's like it's such a large umbrella to shove so much stuff into, and you could really take it from any angle. There's so many like stories to be told, and people say it's repetitive and there's too many horror movies and it just feels like the same stuff, but I'd completely disagree. I think
Yeah.
you could go anywhere with it, and I'm fully on board with that. So I pretty much just make stuff that I want to watch and just tell stories that I want to tell. That's pretty much it.
Well, good. I didn't think that the other was your first short. I haven't seen it, by the way, but I did read the script, and
Yes, yeah.
it's technically challenging.
Yeah.
I hadn't realized that you'd shot it when I first read it, and I was like, this man has no idea what he's walking into. But you've already done it, so there you go. You did.
If I could interject, he had no idea what he was walking into.
You were the AD on that, Corey?
That
Yeah, yes,
Oh
I
boy.
was.
Oh boy. Uh,
Yeah, it was
steering
a
that ship
good
back
time.
on course constantly. That's all that was. But no, I don't take on a film unless it's something I haven't really done before or I think it's like super challenging and there's a chance that it might not even be made. Because I feel like that's the best way to learn is like put me in a sinking ship and I'll learn how to steer the boat kind of thing.
I'm glad.
Maybe it's not the best for like your fellow filmmakers like Corey who are on that ship with you while you're learning how to steer it, but It was very much. It was an awesome experience, and I think everybody had a good time for the most
I
part.
It
can't
was,
wait
yeah,
to
it was
see.
a good time. It was definitely a learning experience for, I think, everybody, crew
Yeah.
wise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, well, I like to challenge myself too. I don't like to do the same things over and over again.
Hmm.
The other was the other was definitely pushing the limits of what we had. And there's a lot of figuring things out in post. Let's say
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
We'll do it in post. A lot of we'll do it in post.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've been working in film for what 35 years now. So, um, I try to go in with a pretty strong, concept for how I'm going to get things done. But, film is organic
Hmm.
and unpredictable. And there were battles that we were fighting on the other that I would never have seen coming.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
the DP, we have this big pool scene, and the DP was really, really, really nervous about water for himself. And so he was operating the camera with his toes.
Oh my
So that,
Hmm.
gosh.
stuff like that. I was just like, you're kidding me. This is not what I saw.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
So I do think that that is a good place to go to our next question, which is the title. You both landed for your respective films on the same title. Can you speak to where that inspiration came from and how you landed both on the other?
well, my journey was a little bumpy to get to the other. My film was originally called Cuckoo, the script
Mhm.
was. And I think it was a week into pre-production, Neon announced that they were going to create a horror film called Cuckoo. And so immediately everyone's just like, God damn it. And we looked for another title and came up with Psychopomp. And for a very long time, Psychopomp was the name for our film, and we just assumed that's what it's going to go with. But um, once we got a distributor on board, he shopped the film around at various film markets with the title Psychopomp, and foreign markets, or some of them, I don't think all of them, but maybe India or something like that, didn't really have a translation for Psychopomp, and so they said,
Mhm.
"Can you give me something else?" And English speakers too. A number of us, heard from people. It's like, "What's a psychopomp?" And it's a person who's is a guides spirits to the land of the dead. It's a very, very, very old word. I liked it. It connects with the film a little bit, but I liked it just because the word itself is psycho and then pomp, and it
Hmm.
had such I could see it magenta and orange and acid green and
Right.
kind of really funky and wild. But the distributor said we had to change it. And we had, like 3 days to come up with something. We came up with hundreds and hundreds of titles. They were all terrible. And I think maybe out of fatigue, we finally said, okay, the other, it's going to be the other.
Hmm. I feel that for sure.
Yeah. And I was telling Emmett, don't title your film The Other. Take it from me. It's like it's so unremarkable. It's so beige, a title.
Yeah.
It's like find something else. It'll because now that it's out, people are like, "Oh yeah, what is your movie?" It's like it's something just kind of like cardboard brown. It's like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's
It's the
so
other movie, you know?
yeah, it's the other movie. And yeah, just try to Google it and see
Yeah.
what comes up.
Mhm.
The other movie, and then you get every other movie, you
Hmm.
know. Anyway, that was my journey to the other, which I've embraced somewhat now, but like a pop would have been really cool.
So
Yeah, I really like Psychopomp as a name as well.
I also, now that you've explained like what it means, because you told me that and I had no idea. Now that you've explained it, I think that's a super fitting title for someone who's seen the movie personally. I think it's,
You did. You saw
yes,
it. Okay.
I watched it last night. Yep. I made sure before this I went on ahead and pulled the trigger on it. It was
Oh, I
awesome.
appreciate
I
that.
think there's a question about getting into that, so I won't get too far into it, but I do like that title. I think that one would have been pretty cool. I think a lot of people, like you said, wouldn't have known in the modern age what that is, since it's such an old word, but I think it would have stood out at least, you know.
Exactly. It's like there was a time when right. I mean, it was like it was the day before we publicly announced the other with the distributor, and I was campaigning so hard for anything else, any other title, and I came up with this campaign for Baby Head. And they're like, what is baby head? And I'm like, well, they're playing with doll heads or something. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what it is. It's just we've got to get eyeballs. We've got to
yeah,
get people intrigued to say, what is this baby head?
yeah.
And the other just doesn't do that. And that was my pitch for Psychopomp too. People were saying, well, how does it fit? And I'm like, sort of does, but it's really about just the way the word feels in the mouth and what you can do with it. It's got the word psycho you know. So anyway,
So for mine, the working title on it was Skinwalker because I originally the concept of, some other entity coming into your house that looks like something familiar to you, that's kind of a cliche of like the Skinwalker lore and I didn't want to go that route because I thought that was like it was too on the nose and so I came up with it being like an alien rather than just like a skinwalker kind of thing, which I think relates more to what inspired me, which is, oh, the meeting's going to end in 10 minutes, so I guess we'll have to come back up. Um, the thing that inspired me was John Carpenter's 1982 movie, The Thing, and that's obviously very alien-esque and, imitation and people dying and not being able to trust the people around you. And I really like that thematically, and so I kind of wanted to translate that over. And so the working title was Skinwalker. Then we changed what it was. So I didn't want to go with just Skinwalker. So I came up with the other, like the spoiler-free version of why it's the other is that there's just another dog that shows up. And that's kind of the catalyst of the whole like downturn of the film. And yeah, it's quite literally just the other dog. I do agree it's very like beige wallpapery, but I thought like the way that I used it in the essence of the film fit really well, and I couldn't figure out anything else to put in there. So it just kind of like nail on the head. That worked, and it was good. And I didn't know there was going to be another one. So
another one. Yeah. Well, I think that because you're a short, people are going to be more inclined to take risks
hmm
on something that isn't maybe necessarily a grab you. I
true,
mean, a
true.
graphic or something like that, which I'm sure would be easy to come up with. I mean, also there are all kinds of shorts that I watch that I have no idea what the title's about, and it's just
hmm
like, oh, well, it's only 6 minutes. It's
Yeah,
only 50
right. Take a
minutes.
chance on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not that big a deal.
And I've
It's
seen silly ones like it'll just say like the face or the mask or the door or
right,
something just random, and it's like okay,
right.
whatever. This looks interesting enough. I'll watch it. So very much kind of the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. We'll move on to the next question. And I think Emmett, will start with you on this one. How did you feel when you found out that in 2025 there are going to be two film projects named with the same name, The Other?
So I was about to roll the camera one of the nights. I think it was closer to the end of filming. It was maybe like late June or early July. And one of my actors comes in and he's in costume and he's ready to go. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this movie called The Other? There's one called The Other too, right?" And I said, "Yeah, there's one from 1971." And he was like, "No, it's not that one." And I said, "Okay, The Others. It's the one with Nicole Kidman in it." He said, "No, it's from this year." And so I'm like, "The Other from this year." And so I jumped on my phone immediately. I'm not gonna lie, my first reaction may or may not have included some curse words, some choice words, just because frustration. But no, I think being on the super low budget side of things, I think my initial reaction was just kind of like I'm gonna be buried in whatever else comes from this other film. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, especially because like indie filmmaking on the level that I'm making it at is very low budget. Feels like you're climbing up a slick flagpole with a bag full of bricks already, and then you kind of find out that someone else planted a flag on top before you could get there. but it's a beautiful flag. I'm not dissing the flag at all. Just the happenstance of what happened. But I think it's funny how the universe kind of had this coincidence, and I'm just rolling with the punches. So directing is adapting. It's
Yeah.
bad enough that there's another dog-focused horror project that I talked about before. Good Boy is coming out soon too, so who knows whether title or content it'll land anywhere, but I'm just happy to be on board and a part of it, I guess.
This is a recurring theme, and this will not be the only time that you're going to experience it. This time you're lucky, it's just a title.
True.
Um,
True. Very true.
I don't think that I have done a film project. And my budgets have never, and my budget on the other is the largest one I've ever had, and it would be considered low budget.
Hmm.
Uh, and I know exactly what you're talking about because there has not been a film project of mine that has not been sort of somehow, neutered in my mind at least by
Yeah.
another film project that's on a massive scale or budget. There was um, James Wan's *Malignant*
Mm.
Mm.
released when we were in pre-production. And I was like, oh my God. It's thank God I don't think it went into theaters. I think it just came to HBO. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. It still feels very COVID-y in my
Hmm.
memory. It's like
Yeah, I think you might be right about that because I definitely saw it.
2021, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. But that was, I mean, that I have been, harboring the idea for the other since the mid 90s. And I finally, a friend of mine said, "Oh, I've got, $200,000, and let's go make a movie." That was not the final budget, by the way, but that was the first version, the first iteration of this film.
God, I
So
wish.
I finally committed this idea to paper, and we went out and, started putting everything together. And then *Malignant* comes out. And although they are very, very different movies, there is an element that is similar. And, certainly some of the reviews, some of the little snarky reviews have said, "Oh, *Malignant* too." And I'm like, fuck you.
That's
It's
funny.
like I've had this for so long. And I'm sure that our influences too from like 80s movies, are similar. So
Mhm.
I gotta
um
say, part of why I probably looked it up was like, okay, the title's the same. There's no way like the content of the film, like there's
right,
no way
exactly.
it's copy and paste, and it was not. So
It was not.
very
No, our
interesting.
films are completely different.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's like that. It's another one where it's like you feel like, as you said, you're climbing up a slicked flagpole, and it's like I would have been there first had we had money together, and
hmm,
James Wan had $40 million and could, just spit it out, and it was fine. But it's like once we finished the film, it was freaking 2 years before we got it out.
wow,
Um, so anyway. So that will continue for you if you know, follow this life of a filmmaker, and you just have to, bite down hard and roll with it.
absolutely, yeah. I also think it's funny just the coincidence of not only us having the same title film, but the fact that you had it as something else, Cuckoo, and then somebody came
And
out
then
with the
Neon,
film,
yeah.
and then passed it on there, and then yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like a whole chain cycle, which is kind of fun, but.
Beyond the title, there are some fun parallels about how you both made your films. For each of you, how long did principal photography take? Where did you shoot, and how did you put your films together?
Uh, um, Principal photography. I think we we were budgeted for 5 weeks. And yeah, that's right. Um, and primarily we were shooting in a house, but we didn't find the house until 3 days before principal photography. So the first week was essentially shooting at all the other locations. So it was like putting all the money up front. And then we fired the main character, the main actor,
Oh,
and
wow.
shoot everything. Wow. Hey, guys. Yes. Oh,
Mhm.
left the back door open so he could run outside and chase squirrels. And then he's doing zoomies. Anyway, uh, so it turned into 6 weeks. So we practically shot 6 weeks, but one was just a repeat of all the most complicated locations. Um, and how do we put it together? Independent financing. And yeah, I mean, we're definitely indie. But I found a production company for commercials in Dallas, where we shot it, Dallas, Texas, and they were really eager to do their first feature film. Um, and this was it. They loved the script. Everyone got on board, and there's cattle and oil money here. If you know where to look, and that's, when we were off to the races.
Heck yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I guess mine, well, I think we took again, we started it with the mindset of this is going to be 19 pages long. It's going to be 19 minutes. I've shot a 17-minute short and maybe like 3 weeks time. So in my mind, it's like, oh, I've done this kind of thing before. Like I can run it back and just do maybe 3 weeks dedicated shooting and get it done. But I had to work around everyone's schedules. Everyone that I'm working with has a day job. They can't film super late. I'm an idiot and I planned a nighttime shoot around the summer when there's like maybe 3 or 4 good hours that I can have everyone there to do it. And then just have to send everybody home and reschedule another time. So scheduling definitely got, I mean, Corey can attest to this. It got out of whack
Yeah.
fast.
Oh yeah, bud.
So I think it was like we got to the point where it was like every other day we were just like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow, man. Like, yep, all right, let's pack it all up and we'll be back here the next night. But I
Yeah,
think
like where can we grab 3 shots here? Where can we grab 3 shots here?
basically just struggling to get it just to get it
Oh,
made. But I think it took 28 days total, which is about what
wow.
you'd expect from a feature film. Like
Yeah.
so might as well have made one of those, but I still think it's going to be right around that like 20 something minute mark. And we also had a handful of pre-shoot days for us to get the lighting right before we got the actors involved there. So
That's great, actually,
yeah.
that you afforded that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Really.
was we the very first shooting day was almost like a sign of what was to come because we spent maybe 4 hours of it just setting up lights and trying to figure out for the first shot how we were gonna do stuff. We like definitely didn't really know each other on the same level that we did, obviously by the end of it, but a lot of it was just like we're gonna need to get in the cycle of this and learn. But then, you're filming it so often every other day, it just becomes like a second job for you, and you just show up and you have your cup of coffee and just work with people for 3 or 4 hours and then you go home. So it's kind of crazy. But we shot entirely at my girlfriend's mother's house. Shout out Tracy. She's amazing. I wrote the script with the place specifically in mind, so there wasn't going to be any, anything weird coming up, and the space was exactly how I wanted it to look. I worked within it. Every room apparently looks a lot bigger in my mind than it does in all actuality when we're shooting there, especially
Yep.
throwing equipment and more people. But yeah, so she was super awesome about letting me use it to shoot. We had some long late nights with like fake blood stains all over the floorboards that I had to stay late and clean up, knock stuff over and broke stuff, lots of furniture rearranging, that kind of thing. But she never once got mad at me throughout the whole thing, but that just speaks more to like how she is as a person than my abilities to not make a mess and tear things up. But yeah, my team was largely people that I had like already knew or worked with. Like the actress was from a previous short that I shot, Agent GB. The actor Hamilton, he was new, but he was a friend of a friend, so I'd say he's guilty by association. Corey, the assistant director, he was my girlfriend's sister's partner, so kind of like once removed there, but also associated. So it's a lot
Mhm.
of people that were already interested in the photography side of thing and wanted to get into the videography, cinematography kind of thing. So kind of made that switch. The cast and crew, everybody was all pretty local from Louisville and Southern Indiana, so it was all mostly people just coming out for a couple hours, flying by the seat of their skin belt, and yeah, just getting it done. So, but I think I read the reason why I pitched it as like parallels. I think I read that yours took 30 days. You filmed it in Dallas at your mom's house, I think,
Yep.
and worked with a lot of local people from Dallas as well.
Yeah. Yeah, almost. The whole crew was local. I didn't know anybody. I was the
Oh
new
wow.
kid. They'd all worked
Wow.
together. Um,
Dang.
yeah, I mean, initially, I hadn't even moved from Los Angeles. I was living there, and I just threw everything in the car and drove to Dallas, and we started prep, and we that was aborted, and then we started prep again with a larger budget. But um, yes, we could not find a house. Um, that would allow us to shoot for as long as we needed it,
Mhm,
and not just shoot, but set up.
mhm,
And it's almost the entire film takes place in the house, and there's blood, and doors are knocked down, and all
mhm,
kinds of violence. And there were some specific things that it needed, like a pool. Um, so yeah, I mean, we scouted a bunch of houses, nothing worked or was too expensive, and finally. My mother's house worked, and I sat her down the Friday before we started shooting, the week before we started shooting, and I said, Mom, this movie's gonna fall apart if I
Mhm.
don't move you out and you give me this house.
wow.
And um, she had just had everything redone. She had not even used her kitchen yet because it was finished the day before we started shooting, and I
Oh
was
my gosh.
terrified that it's like all these fine wood finishes, and I'm like, we're gonna ruin this house.
Mhm.
And she's just had everything remodeled,
That's
all
great.
the carpets, all the and we did a good job. We did a good job. I'll give the crew that. One of the actors had an actor moment and punched a hole in a wall. But I put a little sign that said bathrooms this way over it, so she didn't see it for a couple weeks. Um,
Mhm.
have it repaired.
That's
But yeah, that's family. I'm glad that we have them.
oh yeah, yeah. That's
Other whole
crazy.
house.
She's got an awesome house, I gotta say. Like from seeing the
It's
movie, it's super sick. That's
it's a it's
awesome.
a great house. The rooms are tiny,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you put it's got that big central area which is really open, but when you get into the rooms, they're oh my God.
Mm.
You put a camera in there and everyone's up against the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we had our fair share of
Yeah.
that. There were about seven of us crammed in a bathroom at one point, just
That's
Yeah.
on
awesome.
ladders and
Yeah,
all, climbing on the bathtub. It was a nightmare.
that was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I mean, I wish I had more behind the scenes photos because it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It just everyone had to have monitors because we couldn't be in the room. There just wasn't enough
Mm-hmm.
space. And it really limited how we shot it too. It's like you can't have a lot of moving shots because there's no place to go.
We both had a chance to peek into each other's worlds. Emmett, you've seen Paul's film. Paul, you have read Emmett's script. What struck you the most about the other's other? Was there anything you admired, or what did you just like about the story?
So I'll go in and start because I did just freshly watch the movie last night. I gotta say, it's super awesome. I really love the movie. It's the cinematography, the acting, the special effects are just so cool. It's like it's so well thought out, like plot wise, and the ending specifically is like insane to me. It was just such a cool way to like wrap up that kind of film. Um, I dig the like I don't know if this is a good way of putting it, but I dig like the evil fetus Rosemary's Baby kind of thing that it has going on for it.
Yeah,
It's very cool. I'm super envious, particularly of like the special effects were just so like it worked for the film. It looked so awesome. The pool, the I don't know how you did the pool, but it looked so cool.
good.
The eye in the head and the whole like coming out of the head effect was just so awesome. The whole like fetus thing that it had going for it is just so sick and creepy that I really loved. It was just super awesome.
Good.
I also another thing that I noted to point out was the kind of the balance that your film strikes between like that horror and that comedy. I know you said I don't think people will find it funny, but I went between the elements of this is pretty scary, like I'm drawn into this and like I'm laughing at the next person's line. I think um it's one thing to just be a horror comedy movie where it's like gags and stuff. It's not very scary at all, but I love how there's that playful tension there that a true horror film can have, and then, it like grosses you out 1 second and then it turns around and just makes you laugh at something. And I think I did that with mine too. I don't know if it comes through on the script, but I also don't think I did it nearly as well, and I don't think it'll come out as well in the editing room, I think, but I super, super admire that. I have like a whole just note section of like as I was watching the movie, just typing a whole bunch of what I was feeling and thinking, and there's so many standout like lines of dialogue that's just it's just so funny the way that they react and say things like mustard is eternal. That one's such a funny line. I don't know where that came from, if that was just like the way that you talk and refer to mustard, but it's so funny. Like the I have to go talk to her scene in the car, and then she like Cathelia passes like the crowbar to him, like trying to take this with you. Um,
Good.
uh,
I'm glad these moments are landing
yes,
because
absolutely. Every single one of them is like, okay, that's so funny. The bury the body, and then the trash, and then the okay, like this is good. That's fine. That works.
yeah.
It's so funny. It worked very well in my opinion. Corey,
Usually
have you
by that
seen it?
bury the body line, people realize it's supposed to be funny.
Yes,
And
yeah.
yeah, and they get it. They're with that, but it's like the tail end of the movie too. I think there's a stretch at the beginning where it's it's meant to be uncomfortable, the
Hmm.
silences, and it's a really socially awkward kind of scenario where you have two white parents and
Hmm.
this fostered mute black girl,
Hmm.
and they're stumbling over themselves trying to be PC and not really
Yeah, get some
succeeding.
different colored
And
dolls in there and all that.
exactly. And so there's a stretch where the audience, is like, "Oh God, what's happening?" Is this
Hmm.
going to be one of those
Very
movies?
much so, yeah.
And then it's like I hope that I give enough clues. It's like we worked really hard to after the first screening, and people were like, I am offended. Like, we got to make sure they know where our hearts are on this. But I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad I was
Hmm.
landing with
Absolutely, yeah. Corey, did you ever end up watching it? Just out of curiosity, I know you're muted, but
No, I actually, so it's on my list of things to do after, like right after we get off here.
for shame. It's okay. That's
Oh,
fine. I know you're
Corey.
busy.
I know. Listen, my job is absolutely ridiculous, so I don't have a lot of free time to sit and watch films, unfortunately.
That's fair. That's fair. I gotta say, it's an hour 40, I think, right around there, and it flew by for me. It was really awesome. I really enjoyed
Good.
it. So
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I don't think it's a scary movie at all.
it's not
Uh,
super. I think it's more like more of it like grossing me out, like the effects of
yeah,
it and like what you're seeing, and especially like the whole fetus thing is just weird to me. So I think it like
yeah.
really hit home. So.
That's what I mean. It was supposed to be sort of over the top a little bit. And,
Mhm.
I was trying to keep it fast so that people would just be like, I'm, engrossed in the story and what's going to happen next and, all that. Um, but on to the other. Uh, yeah, I mean, I've only read the script, so I haven't seen any of the visuals. Um, I was when I was reading it, what I was thinking the whole time is the balls on this guy to try to take on this project because um at least written, I mean, I don't know how you shot it, but at least written, I mean, you've got a lot of complicated exchanges where you're dealing with, multiple same characters, and then the effects, of course, are, I've grown up around effects, so I know what to expect, but still, they're always disappointing when you're
Mhm.
there. It's
Oh
like, God,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, and you crafted a story that it just has a lot of really tricky elements. So I can't wait to see it.
I appreciate
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. When I was reading it, it's like he's got an animal here that is, a good solid third character, and it's in there twice. So it's
Hmm.
like been doing double duty, and then other people, and it sounds the way it was written, it felt like in within a same shot, you've got, people popping up twice as their twins.
Hmm.
Um, I may be making that up, but in
No,
my head,
no, that's pretty apt for especially like the dog moments. There are a lot of
yeah.
overlap between the two. Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, I'm excited by it. I mean, I like I said, when I read it, the ball's on this guy, and I was like, I think the first thing I ever wrote you in the email in response was,
good
you
luck
know,
shooting this.
good luck. Like, not something I would tackle, but okay,
Yeah,
Mhm.
fair.
cool.
And you know what? Maybe this whole thing's gonna suffer from all of those, really heavy things to do and tackle. It definitely may. We tried our best. I mean, Corey will attest. We tried our absolute best to just the
Yeah.
indie way of like, how can we figure out a way to make this effect happen?
That
Um,
is honestly, that is, I think, even with money, that's the way to do it.
Fair.
Even if you
Yeah.
have money, if you have too much money, then actually, then you're just like, okay, let's just watch it happen.
Yeah.
But the indie way is, you know, only show what you absolutely have to because everything else costs more money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Clever about it. Editing is a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is.
And that post process, if you're not, aiming towards a release target date, then take your time with it because you'll be able to do a lot of stuff that you don't
Absolutely.
think you can. When I finished with the other, I didn't think I had a movie. I literally thought, okay, well, that was a waste of everybody's time because we so didn't get what I thought we got.
Mm.
Um, but when the first cut came back, it was like, oh, okay, I guess we got enough.
Hmm.
So,
That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm piecing the puzzles together.
yeah,
And it's, some things very clearly work, and we did a good job getting exactly what I needed in the editing room to piece it. And then sometimes it's like, okay, guys, what were we doing this day? Were we all drunk on set, or like what
Right.
happened? And then figuring out a way around it, and
yeah,
especially the effects thing. We did a lot of, because it was kind of my own special honor for The Thing, the John Carpenter
yeah.
movie.
Oh, I'm
I
well aware.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, have you heard of it? It's
Have
kind
you,
of
yeah, have
a
you heard of
small
the John
little.
Carpenter movie, The Thing?
um. Anyway, so I think to do it justice, we had to focus on a lot of the stuff we could do practically, and I think especially like with an indie horror movie, it's gonna look better if you don't have
Yeah,
to like pay someone
always.
$3,000 to do some bullshit VFX stuff. So as much of it that we could shoot practically as possible, we did. For the alien, we had like these tentacles, and we had like a huge rig for it, and it was just so cool. We found out just simple ways to like harness it on somebody's body and get it to move right when we're running, and just it was just cool figuring all that stuff out. But my weakness as a director, and especially doing horror focused movies, I suck at the FX part of it, and that's such like a huge aspect, like make or break some of the horror elements. And so this was basically like challenge to myself, put myself out there again, and see if I can make this work somehow
Yeah.
under a
Sound
budget.
effects, man. Reaction shots and sound effects.
Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
basically that's
Yeah,
all it is.
yeah. And yeah, quick cuts. Don't linger if you don't have to.
Hmm.
You go one frame too far and then everything falls apart. So, I
Absolutely.
I think that affects when you're watching, when you see it, everything that you shot. Like I said, they're just disappointing. It's just like, oh wow, that looks fake as, crap. But
Yeah,
you get it down to those 10 frames, and get the good sound effects going and, rapid cutting, and it's like, wow, that is effective. Um, you probably got it. You probably got it in there.
Oh, I will say that you and I had the same reaction, it sounds like, when we first read the script, because I remember like version one of the script that I got sent before I'd even like said that, like, yes, fine, I'll work with you on this. I read it and I was like, there's no way in hell we're making this, because I know the dog, I know Magnum, and I was like, there's not a chance. I mean, you're talking about having to rotoscope a dog. I was like, there's no way we're
Oh
doing
shit.
this. It's not
Rotoscope?
gonna happen.
Really? What? What are you
It,
talking
it,
about?
it hopefully won't be that drastic because we got a bunch of good plates for it.
Yeah.
But when I first read it, there were some pretty extreme ones where I was like, we're gonna have to. I mean, it's gonna be extreme, but I think
mhm.
Yeah.
hopefully we made it a lot easier on ourselves.
I think
Okay, good.
so. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
I mean, as an AD, I've AD'd before too. That was my career for a short period of time, in like 5 or 10 years. Um, yeah, being handed that script, holy shit, Corey.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, it was. I don't know.
Should have ran.
I
Should have
I
ran
liked
for the
the
hills.
idea, but I was for sure just like, oh no.
Yeah. And then
But
it
hey, I think it's okay.
what?
Yeah, yeah,
And then she does what?
exactly. On paper, both films share similarities, but the nightmares are totally different. Paul, yours dives into foster family secrets. Emmett, yours zeroes in on a duplicate dog. If someone only has time for one, the other film, how would each of you pitch yours?
Oh shit.
I can go first. Go see his. No, I'm just kidding. I think if you love creepy animal movies and or like alien sci-fi movies, mine might hit the mark a little bit more for you than his might. Um, if your favorite horror film is The Thing, like mine is, it's very much a love letter to that, so I think you'll like it. I'm hoping you
I think
do.
stop right there. This is a love letter to the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
yeah,
People are
that's
lining
that's
up.
it. There you go.
yeah.
Lining up.
Yep.
That
Put that
is,
on the poster. Just the
you
other,
have
a
me.
love letter to the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to your credit, if you like supernatural, like pregnancy, over the top like body horror or movies with, with solid production and great acting, then I think you should get on his bus. I think you should watch his The Other.
And that's a pull quote I would use too. Right there.
Let's talk visibility. When people Google the other in 2025, do you imagine audiences finding two films duking it out in the algorithm like horror monsters in a cage match? Or do you think there's space for both projects and place for you to thrive?
I mean, if you're actually going to Google, you need to do like short film
Mm,
or
Mhm.
feature or something, because otherwise we would be duking it out. But that's the stupid algorithm. So
Mhm.
um yeah, it's going to be a trick. It's going to be a trick because usually I use the date, the year,
Mhm. Yeah.
in order to distinguish what other I'm actually trying to get to.
hmm
So yeah, you're gonna have to include short film.
And there, you got to think there's already going to be confusion with the 1971 version, and there's already going to be
Absolutely.
confusion with the others, the Nicole Kidman version. So it's
Yep.
like so many steps removed and then muddled from there. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun. But um, no, I think there's place for both. Like you said, there the distinction between feature and shorts really where that's going to kick in because
Yeah.
the way that, search engines work nowadays, it has to be one thing that we pitch to everyone and it has to be the right thing. So it's going to pull, search engine optimization and all that from your film, which totally fair. First is with the mostest. But yeah, no, I definitely felt a little bit of impending doom when I heard about the other, just because I knew, whatever marketability I had probably wasn't gonna be not nearly as strong as it was already gonna be, which was fairly weak. But
Well, you haven't discussed the obvious solution to this.
changing the name,
Yeah.
which
hmm
is fair, which is fair.
I
I
mean, I think that once you get the film cut, you may be inspired
True.
to
hmm
like, okay, you know what? The other sucks. Let's go for, the double dog, or I don't know, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
the
Yeah,
fair.
dog down. Um, Whatever, just you're going to be able to come up with all kinds of other things. And that will benefit you on so many levels, not just who's going to pop up on top on the
Which
search
is
on the Google.
fair.
mhm.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
hard-headed though. I don't know. If I like a title or an idea I come up with, it's like what you
I
said
get
where
it.
it's
I
like
get it.
I hope someone else doesn't do this kind of thing. I'm like, man, it fits so perfect. Like I want to change it, but it fits so perfect. And yeah, I don't know. I don't even think it would have been a big enough thing to have confused people. So, I think
Well, let
that
me
would
tell you
would be
something real
sweet.
quick.
Yeah.
This may or may not sway you. There is another film coming out. I think it's next year though. Fear the Other.
Mm.
Well,
And
there's his
I'm
sequel
saying,
idea right there.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean
I mean, when did you say it's coming out? Because I feel like I can switch things, switch the posters up a little bit.
Mhm.
yeah, Fear the Other. There you go. Bring it.
Yeah.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah, probably just gonna get buried in however many the others are gonna come out. But I
You
also
suck
think
the palm. Just use Psychopomp. You'll be good.
I also think shorts do have places where they shine a bit more
Yeah,
than like major productions. Like
absolutely.
Whiplash was a short film beforehand, and I can still find the short film if I am looking for it. So really, it's the desire to look for it to begin with. Um, I still think it'll maybe be findable. And also, YouTube's still there, so that's kind of where I think mine would land the hardest and the best anyway. So maybe like the trailers would get mixed up if I put the other 2025 trailer or something, but I feel like for like a short film, it could have a place, a home there. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well, there's so many festivals that, accept short films and showcase them. So you'll be able to, grow word of mouth right there. And, horror magazines like Fangoria will cover short films. So, you can get the word out. I don't think that you just have to rely on Google.
All right, personal opinion for both of your short films. Which is more frightening? Paul's mute orphan with a dark past and what follows, or Emmett's doppelganger alien dog at the door?
It's got to be his because mine's not scary.
I
Mine's
don't know, just
absurd. It's ridiculous.
mute orphan with a dark past sends like my nerves going immediately, I will say.
Especially since it's not the horror from the orphan that you would think. Corey, I know you don't know this because you haven't seen the film, but it's very much there's a lot more going on than just that, and I feel like all of it together, I think it makes a pretty strong case. I definitely I think an alien that takes the form of my pet so that I can't tell them apart would probably win. That's another level of nightmare fuel for me personally, but I still think there's I wouldn't want the orphan thing in my life. I would not choose that for myself. But to his credit, I feel like it is still scary enough. I think it's scary enough to market the horror genre to it and not
Yeah.
not the
Oh,
alien.
definitely. It's horror genre, but I don't think it's yeah. It's a ride. I built
Right.
it as a ride. It was never intended to be scary. It was just like, and then this happens, and this happens, and you won't believe that this happened, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's supposed to just, have you there with the popcorn. And then at the end, what the fuck is happening?
Basically, yeah, that was my reaction.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
See,
But I
having
think
not seen
that,
it, but
go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, having not seen it, but having it queued up literally as I hop off here, I'm getting so hyped to go watch it right now.
Well, I think that the idea of having um, something familiar in your house, especially, that isn't right, somehow. In yours, it's very specifically, another being, but to have, those moments, those flashes where you don't recognize your partner or your pet, things that are so intimate in your lives. I think that is a more relatable horror. Um, and I certainly have experiences with my dogs, where one of them I think is sundowning a little bit, a little bit of dimension there where, he'll just kind of stare at me in a way that doesn't, it's like we don't recognize each other, and it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I think that, that is, I think that's something that most people will relate to other than, fostering an orphan with a dark past.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Or having fetuses spring out of all the orifices.
Hey, Paul, listen, you don't know my life.
That's right. I don't. And you don't judge. I don't judge. Yeah.
Corey's
Right,
just
what I
gonna
do on
watch
my
the
weekends is my.
movie. Corey's just gonna watch the movie and be like, "Oh my God, this happened to me.
I'm like, how did he?
This was
Does he
last
have cameras in
week."
my house? What's going on?
We had this sick fuck on our show.
It's crazy.
Uh,
Here's a fun one. Should you guys just team up and market a double bill, the other and the other? Two tales, one title. And if
yes.
so, what should audiences see first, the slow burn feature or the quick stab of the short?
Oh, you got to start with the short.
Yeah, I think so too. You can't
Absolutely.
start
Yeah, a
with the
little
feature and then
appetizer.
go into it. Yeah, exactly. I'm the appetizer. He's the entree. He's the main
How it
course.
works. Yeah. Yeah. But I've thought about that just kind of as not about us specifically, but when I used to go to the movies as a kid, there were often be short films as at least at the theater that I went to.
That's
prior
awesome.
to the feature. Yeah, which was great.
Love
And
that.
sometimes they would be related, and sometimes they'd be very different. But
Super cool.
um, so many short films don't get the exposure that they deserve. I always thought, well, why don't, when you release a film on a DVD, include a short film that is, thematically similar. It's just
Hmm.
a little bonus.
That'd be
But
awesome.
yeah, um, that's how I'm going to be pitching my short film. It's like, here, stick it on your DVD. There's
Exactly.
people that can
Yeah.
get those.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. Then everybody wins. Um,
I think it'd be fun. I think they're cool movies to have that double bill. Like they're similar enough in like, you know, evil entity takes over this couple's lives and
right.
chaos ensues kind of thing to be interesting, but they're also different enough and unique enough so that it doesn't feel like it's literally the same story back to back and everything's happening
Right.
um um the same way. I feel like also like a feature could maybe be like not helped, but maybe like if there's a 2 hour time slot and you have like a 20-minute short and then like the 1 hour 40 or so minute film, it's like, yeah, it was 2 hours. That's what about most movies that come out are now, except you're
Yeah.
getting, the short and the feature in there. But yeah, I think it'd have to be appetizer. I don't see a reason to put that in front of a
Right.
uh
People walk out after the feature's over with, and the
Hmm.
short would just get
yeah,
lost.
exactly. Well, yeah, they could
Yeah.
skip it anyways. It's okay.
Right. Exactly. You gotta feed them that up front.
All right. Well, I'm Corey, and this has been Louisville Indie Films. Paul, it was so wonderful to meet you. Emmett,
You
pleasure
guys
as
too.
always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to wrap it here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night.
No,
Hey,
you too.
thank
Yep.
you.
Paul,
Congratulations on your short, and I
thank
can't
you.
wait to see it.
I appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much for coming to meet with us and
Yep.
talk.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Love it.
All right. Take care.